Hi everyone, my name is Danielle and welcome to another episode of Board Game Geek. This week we're going to focus on Brass Birmingham, which is by Roxley Games, and congratulations to Brass and the Roxley team because currently it's #1 on Board Game Geek for overall and for strategy, which is really impressive. So we're actually going to toast their success by recreating these little barrels from the game, which you use when you buy different things, but we're going to recreate them as cookie shots or barrels, however you want to think of them. We're going to make a peanut butter cookie, and I'm going to show you 3 different ways that you could do it to create this barrel shape. We're going to use the traditional cookie shot mold, and I also tried using a cupcake mold and a mini cupcake mold. So this way you can use whatever you have at home. Let's get started. Let's get started with our peanut butter cookie dough. I started with a roll-out peanut butter cookie dough so that it's more stiff than a traditional peanut butter cookie. Using a mixer or hand mixer, combine a ½ cup cream peanut butter and a ½ cup softened unsalted butter. Once it's homogeneous, add in a ½ cup granulated sugar and a ½ cup packed light brown sugar and mix until smooth. Next, add a ½ cup, add 1 large egg and 1 teaspoon vanilla extract. Give it a quick mix. In a small bowl, add a 1/4 teaspoon of salt and 1 teaspoon of baking powder to 2 cups of all-purpose flour. Add this to your larger bowl. I think my mixer was a little too ambitious and it made it hard to form clumps. When you use a stand mixer, usually it's easier for it to come together. Thus, I stopped and kneaded it together by hand so that I didn't get too overworked. If you choose to refrigerate your dough, make sure you let it set out a bit before trying to make the cookies, otherwise it'll be very hard to mold it for any of the different techniques we're going to try. I figure that not everyone wants to buy a new tin, so I also created versions using a regular cupcake tin and mini muffin tin. Both follow similar techniques. Take your dough and scoop it out into 1 tablespoon balls. For the small barrels, put 1 tablespoon of dough into a spot that's been sprayed liberally, because you don't want to knock them out of the tin with cooking spray. Use your finger to push it fully in and create a cavity. Bake it at 350 degrees Fahrenheit for 8 to 12 minutes until browning at the top. For the larger barrels, these are huge. Huge cookies. Probably best to share because you're going to put 1 dough ball on the bottom and then 2 more around the sides. Yeah, that means that one of these created barrels is 6 cookies. You can form aluminum foil around a shot glass and fill it with rice or beans to create a central weight to prevent these from rising up in the oven. Bake them for 12 to 17 minutes, removing the aluminum foil after about 8 minutes. Let them cool a bit and then use a knife to cut off any of the cookie that rose above the top, so once again it's flat on top. You can also take a small circle cookie cutter and put a hole in half of the cookies on the bottom, and this is going to be where you pour the liquid in and drink. Let them cool before twisting them out to get them out of the pan. Hey everyone, I just want to take a second to tell you thank you so much for watching my video. It means a lot to me. Bye! I tried the shot glass mold with the fresh and chilled dough, and it didn't really make much of a difference. Use 1 tablespoon cookie scoop to portion out 2 tablespoons and then form them into 1 large ball. You'll need 6 balls for the pan. To prepare your pan, spray liberally the inside and the center pieces. Then put the cookie dough in the bottom of the tin. Take that central piece and push down decently hard on the dough. This will make it come up the sides. I had good ones and some that are not so great. Ideally, you want it to be in the center so it comes up evenly around the edges. Ideally. If you have dough coming up over the top, use a knife to cut it off. Bake these at 350 degrees for 17 to 19 minutes. You want the tops to be brown. Wait a minute, then trim off any of the cookie that's come over the edge, this way you'll have a nice smooth top. Let it sit for another 10 minutes before removing the center part. From the pan, get some leverage and twist them. So you have to put pressure and then eventually they should twist and then they could come out. There may have been some casualties before I got the hang of this. These barrels in all forms are so fun and easy to make. Give them a try. Prepare your barrels by trimming the cookies to make them flat on top. You can hold up the 2 halves for the muffin tin ones to see if they match or if they have large gaps. Also, cut small holes into half of the small barrel cookies, and this is where you're going to put in your beverage of choice. Once you're happy, microwave some chocolate chips in a microwave safe bowl at 30-second intervals, stirring in between each microwave cycle. Once there's only a few chunks, you're good to go since the bowl will continue to heat the chocolate. I like to add easy melts, and this makes it easier to work with. Just be careful not to add too much or it'll stay sticky. Dip the large side of the small barrel cookies in the chocolate, and then stick the two halves together. So you want one half with a hole in it and one half with no hole. Use chocolate to fill in any of the gaps in the seam. If I was going to do this again, you should also paint the bottom of the one that doesn't have a hole, so this way it won't leak. For the large barrels, I remembered to coat the bottom piece with chocolate and paint the cookie to make it easier to join together. Repeat the same process so you have this nice chocolate wood lines on the outside. For the shot glass barrels, use a paintbrush to cover the inside of the cookie with chocolate. This makes it much easier to have liquid in it without leaking. You can even have a few drinks, if you can wait that long before eating your cookie. Also, paint the top rim with a tasty, tasty chocolate. Once the chocolate is hard, create edible paint by mixing brown food gel coloring with a bit of alcohol. Use a bristly brush to paint vertical lines on the cookie, and this should give a similar effect to having the chocolate on the outside of the barrels. Don't feel like you need to cover up the whole thing. The gaps make it look more wood-like. We're already at the final details. Wow. Roll out white fondant to 1/8 of an inch thickness. Take some silver luster dust and sprinkle it over it to give it some shine. Use a knife or a pizza cutter to create thin strips of fondant. Maybe try a knife because it really wanted to get trapped on my pizza cutter. Use your finger to put a tiny amount of water on the back of the fondant and attach it to your barrels. The water is what lets the fondant stick on it. You need a strap for the top and for the bottom of your cookie barrels. Once you're done attaching all your fondant, you're ready to fill it up, have a toast, and eat it too. Thanks for watching another episode of Board Game Bakes. Again, congratulations to Brass Birmingham and its team that they're #1 in Board Game Geek, which is a big accomplishment. And now you guys are fully equipped to be able to make your own shot glasses to celebrate. I hope you liked all the different varieties that you can use, so maybe you at least have one of those tools at your house so you can easily make these. People were commenting that they want some videos that are easier to produce, and this would be a really good place to start. Which one are you going to try at home? Keep playing games and keep them sweet. Bye!